Alrighty, welcome back to the Doom 3 commentary with me, Skully the Metalhead. We have just defeated the Vagary. We are taking one last look around her little spider nest. And now we're finally moving on to bigger and better things. We are moving on to the N-Pro facility, following hot on the tracks of Councillor Elliot Swan and his boy Campbell. Well, that was a more fumbled intro than I expected, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's smooth, like our baby's behind, and sometimes it's quick. Here's a cutscene.
Bravo team, entry secure. Move in and take positions. Quiet. Did you hear that? This is Lee. Give me status. Always clear. There's nothing here, Sam. What the hell? Son of a bitch! Lead, I'm swinging around left.
Well, ain't that a gruesome fate for Alpha Team? Fuck, Bravo Team. Yes, Bravo Team can't catch any breaks, whether it's Resident Evil or Doom 3. But yeah, that's a little something to be concerned about. Get a nice little view of Mars City out there. Yeah, and Sergeant Kelly's just basically saying that, yeah, Bravo Team is fucked up, now you gotta grab the card key and head to the communications tower. You're our only hope. Only you can possibly save us. Well, don't worry, Sergeant Kelly, we won't let you down. Because I am Skully the Metalhead, Doom Guy, and Zombie Slayer Extraordinaire. That's another thing I should probably bring up. To avoid a dry spot in the commentary, I have brought up a bunch of monster files, which I'll be reading out to you guys later, because I'm not really too sure if I will really have enough commentary to pad things up, because again, one of the hardest things is trying to inject your own little bit of personality into it, which I can say that I do. I've significantly improved since, the Silent Hill commentary, which is noticeable in the later parts of the Matrix Path and Neo, which I'm pretty proud of. I've actually just recently uploaded the last part an hour ago, I think, so yeah. And again, we feature the return of the security bot, which was featured in previous parts, and we actually get a very interesting log entry which details what I can only assume to have been a possible plot element, or at the very least, the angle of hell possibly corrupting it, but it's something that's never really brought up again, so I can really just speculate at that point. And I'll also be reading, well, I'm pretty sure I already mentioned this a couple of seconds ago, but I will also be reading a bunch of monster files, because there's some pretty interesting shit behind them. Even with the unfinished monsters that I briefly talked about last time, again, there's so much to discuss. But first, where are my manners? I must first discuss the log entry. So I shall shut up and you can listen.
Chief Technical Officer for the N-Pro facility. During my weekly inspection of the coolant system, I discovered yet another safety violation. As I've stated repeatedly, our service manuals must be followed to the letter. Now, this includes changing back filters for the coolant system on schedule and not when maintenance gets around to it. As you know, unclean back filters will create pressure inside the coolant system's release tubes. Even a minor disruption in a release tube can dislodge or destroy its coolant rod, overheating the core, possibly sending the entire facility up in smoke. Now, let me be clear, if I see this again, the team responsible will be transferred to sewage treatment before the day is over. Paul Rad, Chief Technical Officer for the N-Pro facility. I appreciate UAC's concerns following the number of stress-related illnesses spreading throughout the base. However, I don't understand why we require such a large detail of armed security bots in N-Pro. Now, you may disagree, but I trust my team's mental condition far more than whatever programming is running inside those bots. Which brings me to the reason for this report. Today, one of my best engineers, Patrick Thomas, was nearly shot when a bot refused his clearance. That's right, shot. Luckily, a nearby team from maintenance caught up to it and smashed it with a pipe wrench before it could chase Pat down. Now, it'll be days before he's ready to return to work, and I don't think you'll ever get him close to one of those bots again. Our our jobs are difficult enough without needing to avoid getting shot. If we're going to be treated like prisoners, I respectfully request that you afford us the courtesy of being guarded by people instead of machines.
So yeah. And again, I do have reason to believe that that was going to be possibly a plot element for later in the game. Like when Doom Guy was just running all the way through, you know, hell at some point, eventually even the machines would eventually turn on him. Like akin to the, zombies and, you know, Z-Sex. But, you know, that being said, I don't know, it's an interesting concept that I honestly think probably should have been expanded upon a little bit. And, since, well, there isn't really going to be anything eventful for the next little bit, because again, it's mostly just going to be some run and gun action, so I'm mostly going to be describing a little bit about the creatures. So, starting with the obvious choice, I'm going to be talking about the imps. Well, again, aside from the fact that they can just shoot fireballs and are just generally bipedal, there are actually two different types of imps in the game code. The regular imp that walks normally, and a quicker version that walks on all fours. The second version isn't actually used, and and again, according to the wiki anyway, it was probably replaced by the Volga in one of the expansion packs. I believe the Lost Mission, but I'm not really too sure. Actually, yeah, it was, and it was also included in the, Big Friendly Giant edition. That steam is going to be pretty fucking annoying. Also, another interesting fact is it apparently shares some similarities to the Reaper Splitter from Time Splitters 2. I can't really vouch for that because I haven't played Time Splitters 2, but, you know, I can only assume that it's possibly correct. Well, again, to pad out commentary a little bit, a very funny thing. If you can recall, way back, I think around about, like, part 2 or whatever, about certain zombie types, because again, there actually are quite a few zombie variants in this game. And yeah, the most hilarious thing I found is that there's a flaming zombie who is nicknamed Bernie. Like B-E-R-N-I-E. It's software, you and your puns. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna stop it. Doom Guy. Diggy Dog. Doomy G. Oh well. I believe we're also introduced to a new enemy, which I believe was introduced with, the Bravo team cutscene, although it was actually introduced a little bit beforehand, but yeah. We were recently introduced to Wraiths, which, again, a lot of people would probably confuse for imps, except for the fact that they have scythe-looking claws, or at least look a little bit more like insects. And again, a bit of interesting trivia regarding them as well. Apparently id wanted the Wraith to form out of clouds, like clouds of insects, and that what they would do was hide within bodies. But the concept would scrap because, well, you wouldn't really be able to tell what you're looking at, especially considering the very dark environments as you can see here. Although, I believe that they do make up for this by having a teleportation ability, which, again, is quite noticeable because, again, they teleport around the landscape, and yeah. I don't know, the Wraiths in terms of enemy or enemy difficulty I should say, they're nothing too annoying. In fact, if anything, they're pretty much just projectile-less imps. But at the same time, you know, it makes for a pretty interesting variant. Is that? I'll probably boost the audio on that, but yeah, we can hear crying. Do not worry, female, I shall save you, for I am Doom Guy, hero of the Northwest, savior of heaven and hell, possibly. Oh shit. Yeah. Welcome to the Lost Souls. Well, at least the Doom 3 variant of them. I gotta say, I really do like that cutscene, and I don't know, it's these moments that Doom 3 handles the best, in my opinion. But anyway, we have another log entry coming up. I will talk a little bit more about the Lost Souls later, with that poor woman's deceased corpse just lying there. Anyway, here's the log.
This is the audio log of weapon analyst Teresa Chazar, dated November 3rd, 2145. I I'm pleased to report that the preliminary tests on the ammo storage in the new Mach 3 plasma gun has far exceeded our expectations. We realized a full 50% gain in the storage capacity of ammo packs as a result of utilizing techniques engineered in the Alpha Lab's molecular compactor. I believe with the ongoing compaction research, we will reach our goal of 3 times the plasma storage currently available in standard ammo packs. I would also like to mention that all of the employees here at the Enpro plant have been very helpful and quite eager to accommodate all of my requests. For security reasons, I've locked the plasma gun and the extra ammo in locker 063 with door code 972. End of lock.
Yeah, interesting bit of trivia about the Lost Souls is that, again, though they do not use their classic Doom design in this rendition, in Resurrection of Evil, and I think even in Lost Mission, there's actually a variant of the Lost Souls called the Forgotten One, which is pretty much the classic Doom Lost Souls brought into Doom 3, which, you know what, I'm actually think is a bit of a missed opportunity to include some more classic designs, because, you know, if you're gonna go out of your way to do it for the Lost Souls, I think you could probably do something similar for, like, the Imps, you know, for the Pinky Demon. I mean, hell, even the Hell Knights and all that kind of stuff. Well, then again, I suppose the Hell Knights in Classic Doom do kind of bear a little too much of a resemblance to the Barons of Hell. But still, it'd be a bit of fan service that I think would be appreciative. But then again, I think nostalgia is probably something that's a little bit too overdone in this day and age, so I won't lose sleep over it. Anyway, here is the core. Well, actually no, this isn't the core, there's one a little bit later, because that had a blue core. Although I suppose going back to the topic of the Lost Souls, in terms of enemies, again, they are nowhere near as annoying as a certain other enemy, but again, when they're in swarms, they can grate on you, I'm not gonna lie. But I would not call them the most annoying enemy in the game, because that is reserved for a certain babyface looking enemy that really pisses me off. But regardless, and something I probably should have mentioned beforehand, we have only met like 1 of 2 female staff members aboard the UAC facility, which is actually referenced in one of her log entries with Dr. Elizabeth McNeil. And about possible sexism? Question mark? I don't know, it's just something interesting to bring up. But, you know, in terms of anything else though, I don't know, I guess, again, it's just flavor text, but it adds so much to Doom 3's, you know, world and atmosphere. I don't know, I guess it kind of works both ways in the sense that there's plot there if you want it, but, you know, a lot of people the story can be as simple as a bloody Mario Bros. Game. Anyway, since I have run out of things to say, and we were just blasting more Lost Souls, it is time for some more monster trivia. And there's plenty on the Z-Sec, which actually has quite a number of variants. Like there's the, again, you've seen them all throughout the games. There's the pistol variant, the shotgun guy, one of which I really hate. There's a machine gunner, which again uses just the general machine gun. There's a riot shield trooper, which again I can't quite remember encountering, but I'll probably get to it later. And also in terms of trivia, there's actually, again, the creatures are called Z-Secs, but there's actually referenced in one of the PDAs where there's actually a CD called Champagne Tomiko by the Z-Secs, so, laziness I guess, whatever. Damn. Hopefully something eventful happens. Ooh, is it getting hot in here? Is it just me? Doom guy better take off his shirt and get sexy, y'all. This is just unacceptable.
Louise, we gotta find that transmission card. If Swan gets his hands on it, then what?
Yeah, and as you'll notice, Kelly is quite insistent that we get that card, and also that we seem to avoid Counselor Swan and his boy Campbell. I don't want to imply anything, but aren't we supposed to be on the same side? I mean, it's not as if he's working with the demons. I mean, he was fighting them off just as we are. I don't know. I think there's more to this than meets the eye. And, again, I don't want to spoil it right now, but honestly, ever since I came to a realization around about the point, you know, where a certain revelation comes into play, Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I've never been able to listen to Sergeant Kelly the same way again. Because trust me, there is a very big spoilery thing, and, well, not so much spoilery, because again, akin to the "they took my baby" scene, that's actually left up to a lot of interpretation, which, again, and I'm more inclined to believe column A about it, but again, a lot of people just believe it's column B, and yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit later. And then again, the entire purpose of Sergeant Kelly was actually altered quite significantly, because, again, in the unfinished monsters design, there was actually a design for a zombified version of Sergeant Kelly. And again, it wasn't used for a boss fight or anything, it was just a model of him as a zombie. So, I have to wonder if his role was possibly changed, because again, Sergeant Kelly does still live. Like, he's not dead or anything, or is going to die at all, as far as you know.
Do you see the card?
No, sir.
Okay, let's get to the communications facility. We can stop the transmission from there.
Whatever you say, Counselor.
Okay, the plot chickens. The guy could have turned his card over, but apparently he decided to stay hidden. Anyway, we've fixed up the coolant rod, so now it's time to head back and locate Bravo Team, the one survivor. Although technically it's two survivors because the lost mission is supposed to be taking place at this point. And again, in terms of canonicity, I'm not sure if the lost mission acts as one of the survivors of this game, because again, well, I'm not going to spoil anything. Even though Doom Guy and a few others do survive, it's never explicitly stated how many were still alive, because again, there are a lot of casualties, as is painfully obvious. But by this point in the game, or at least in terms of side-by-side canon, I'm not quite sure where the lost mission is in terms of, you know, who completes what first. I guess it's kind of like a Sonic and Knuckles effect, really, where you're not quite sure which part of the story takes place when, and then, you know, when Sonic 4 came out, it just kind of confused the whole thing, and there. Which is probably why I don't even count Sonic 4 as canon, because it was created by Dimps. It most certainly doesn't really seem to care about, you know, the storyline or anything, so what's the fucking point in placing it anywhere within the canon? But again, Sonic fanwank aside, although I will say this, even though it's a little bit too late to say it, the Wraith's teleportation ability, again, it's kind of tricky, because especially in certain hallway areas, because they can just kind of, just move to a different area. But yeah, when you're in an open space just like that, the teleportation ability is kind of unremarkable, because again, they'll usually just teleport, like, reasonably close to where you were. Blood. Hope it is not Chris's blood. Ugh. Jesus, excuse me. Appear to be having indigestion from din-dins, which was quite yummy. Let's see. More demons. Okay, let's take a look. Just taking a look at some of the monster pages, specifically on the demon as well. Well, demon quote-unquote, but I actually mean Pinky! Yeah, in the E3 2002 demo of Doom 3, in the bathroom where the Marine is hiding in a corner, a demon is actually feasting on the guts of a fat zombie, which, or at least for the time anyway, was considered one of the most memorable scenes in the demonstration. Because again, not only when it's finished eating does it go after Doom Guy, but then the fat zombie awakens and then attacks the Marine, forcing it to kill the guy as well. And, you know, I think even after that, like, later on in the demo, it shows zombies eating each other, which is, you know, cannibalism, and I really have to wonder how, what other horror elements were planned to be implemented, because, I mean, again, I don't have a point of reference for this, but again, if you take a look at the 2002 E3 Doom 3 demo, like, you know, it was going for the full effects. Like, I mean, it even had the bloody Trent Reznor sound design to it. Like, I mean, this was before the game was finalized, before he had to pull out of the thing, but yeah, it was really, again, it was quite intense. Like, I mean, a lot of the sound design sounded a lot punchier to it, and honestly, again, I'm both saddened, but, you know, that Trent Reznor didn't do the sound design, because again, I especially loved a lot of the pistol sound effects, like a lot of the ambience, it was just so good. No, well, just little things you gush about. But again, if you ever do get the chance, I do recommend taking a look at the Doom 3 2002 video, because again, there are quite a number of differences between what was shown there and what was in the final game. Well then again, Doom 3 was delayed by, I believe, a year or two, because it was initially set for a 2003 release before being pushed back to 2004. Although, wow, that was a pretty pathetic death. Although, I think it was mostly because I believe they were either still working on the id Tech 3 engine or it was some other technical difficulty. Actually, speaking of visuals, a lot of people actually criticized Doom 3 for looking inferior to other games that were coming out at the time, like Half-Life 2. And you know, to be perfectly honest, while Half-Life 2 does look a little bit more realistic in terms of visuals, Doom 3 to me makes up for it with its, not only its environments, but also with how, oh god, but also with how, you know, the environments are lit, with a lot of its scares, and again, it's just general ambience, really. Like, it creates a feeling that can't be recaptured by Half-Life. Well, I actually read somewhere about the very similar scenarios between Doom and Half-Life about, again, both of the games are about teleportation experiments gone wrong, monsters run amok, and there's one guy that has to stop it all. Again, looks like the Valve team isn't very innovative. Well then again, even Doom to some degree was just meant to show off the physics engine, which couldn't be replicated with Wolfenstein 3D. Although there have been some connections, because I recall Doom RPG having one of the possible names for Doom Guy be related to the protagonist of the Wolfenstein games. I would pronounce it to you, but it's BJ Blawakowicz or something. And again, I feel like such a fucking cockhead for not being able to pronounce it, but, you know, again, there's a possible relation to that, and weirdly enough, even Commander Keen, or at least to a certain degree. But then again, that's a tangent for another time if I can possibly find it. And yeah. Well, at least now that I'm doing it in 20-minute parts, I won't have to exhaust myself, because again, I had to retake these, or at the very least the Alpha Lab segments, quite a lot. Because, I don't know. It was just generally poor etiquette, and at the same time, I felt that, like, the commentary wasn't up to par. And, well, this section isn't really that good either, but to be perfectly honest, I'd prefer this to any other tech. So I'm Skully, keep it new metal, and I'll see you next time in the Doom 3 commentary. See you later.